I realized quickly that if I leave my job, someone is going to replace me. If a spouse dies, there are most chances that the partner is going to remarry. And when we take good care of ourselves, chances are that we are going to take good care of other people. So you give the best to others if you have actually given the best to yourself. And that is what I called unconditional love. My name is Ify and this is my YouTube channel. On this channel, we talk about things that we were not taught in school. Today, we are going to look at why everyone should be selfish. We are talking about selfishness that will protect you away from takers who have no conscience and who does not even know when to stop taking away from you. How to bloom this love is what I wake up every morning thinking about, the best way to improve myself. And if you don't ask this question, that means that you are not doing the right thing to yourself. Because you need to always ask, how do I make the best of myself? How do I reinvent myself? How do I rebrand myself? How do I? They target to be selfish. Because at first, the idea of being selfish did not sit well with me. I was being this religious person who were taught in church that you don't have to be selfish. You just have to be selfless, help other people. So if I want to talk about being selfish, I look like you are saying something wrong that you shouldn't. Why don't you remember what you were taught in church? You should be selfish. But at some point, I realized that for me to do things the right way it should be done, I must have some level of selfishness. This whole journey of selfishness started while I was working. And I was working in this job and got married, was trying to conceive. It was so hard for me to conceive at first. And all of a sudden, I found out I was pregnant. Then when I got pregnant, I was so happy because, of course, I've been looking for that for a long time. Anyone who knows Lagos, Nigeria, knows it's one hot place to live in. I juggled like 4 buses to work, and it was so tough for me at that time. And so while I was doing all of that, I miscarried. I miscarried several times. And when I was crying that I was having miscarriages, my boss was a woman actually, and never married, never had a kid, and she didn't even understand what I was saying. But do you need to have all of that to feel the pain of other people? I asked myself. But she never felt it because, I didn't understand my body then. So I didn't understand that my body does not need stress when I conceive. So those stress I was going through every morning affected me. I keep losing babies. So it got to a point she didn't care. And I was trying to please her, going off my way, trying to come to work as early as I could, do the things I have to do. I was literally living to please her. Then one day, after having a long conversation with my sister, she talked me into realizing where I am. I said, oh my God, what the hell am I doing? I asked myself, what exactly do I need? I need to choose whether to take up this job or whether I need to have kids. Of course, there will always be job, but there might not always be kids. I decided to take it easy to myself, write a letter to the office and explain to them exactly what I was going through. And so after all of that, I conceived the next time I stopped going to work because I needed to keep my baby, keep my body. And that act that I took was one miracle that happened in my life. Yes, when I took that act, the baby stayed, and I was able to carry this baby to full time. But I remember while I was working in that office at that time, I have other people who were telling me, they too, they were miscarrying the baby, they didn't change their work. They were trying to talk me into thinking that the choices of me sitting back home to take care of my family wasn't right. That was the idea they were bringing to me, that they had miscarried, but they continued. They eventually did not have babies, but I want to have babies. So life is choice. So when I sat myself down to talk to myself about what I want, that healed me. So that was the act of selfishness that is so necessary in everything you are doing. There comes a time in your life where you need to sit yourself down to ask yourself, what is there to lose? Is this the ultimate good for me? Is this the best thing for me at this time? You need to ask yourself that, because if you do not ask yourself to differentiate between this and that, you might be on the verge of losing the most important thing in your life. Now, it is a job to know whether you want to lose this thing, because it's you who is into it. It is you who know whether you really, truly wanted it. It is you who will sit yourself down to say, okay, this is exactly what I wanted. This is how I want it. I did that. It worked for me. So since that time, I need to reevaluate my choices about being selfish and not being selfish according to what I was taught growing up. So healthy selfishness is not bad. In fact, it is necessity. You need to do that. You need to do that because it could be the cause of your emotional problems in every relationship. Because you are not selfish enough to guard your own self, someone else would abuse you for that. Yeah, it is true and understandably that selfishness can be wrongly practiced. But the intention in this video is not to talk about the bad aspect of selfishness. It's to draw your attention to the right path of selfishness, which is the reason why you get stuck in a place where you're not supposed to be. Yeah, and people have been stuck in a places where they are not supposed to be simply because they are not selfish enough to take themselves away from darkness into the light. We are talking about the selfishness that will help you to be a leader. We are talking about selfishness that will make you more emotionally intelligent. If you feel you have no control over your life, chances are you are not practicing selfishness the right way. You are not being selfish enough. Yes, it's not evil, guys. It means that you have made other people more important in your life. So if you have people in your life you can't trust, guy, you need to be super selfish. Here are some reasons you need to be selfish. Being selfish is for your mental health. Imagine yourself if you have been someone who does not even know how to create healthy emotions, and all of a sudden you start practicing journaling, scripting, meditation. You just want to be selfish, find your spots, start to recreate your life, to rebrand your life, to make your life something you want or you have pictured on the inside. Then you start the act of selfishness. And when you started these things, it actually would heal your mental health, to actually heal you and take you away from depression, take you away from mental illnesses. You are going to bloom better. These are one top reason why you need to start the act of selfishness, to protect your mental health. It is very important. Being selfish will help you to create things you love, do things you love, go where you want to be, and just be in your selfhood. It is very important for you to mark that there comes a time when you need alone time. And that's what other people will call you being selfish. No, it is not you being selfish. It's you self-connecting with yourself. And the reason why they were overriding and manipulating and dumping all sorts of negative emotions on you is simply because you were not practicing the act of selfishness. And they were enjoying that your self-abuse at that time. But here comes the time where you have blossomed out, you've known who you are, and you don't want no one to cross these boundaries. Most of people are on board for self-love, but let's face it, it's almost impossible for you to practice the act of self-love if you're not selfish. Yeah, because self-love that I know that is empowering, that is life-changing, is the self-love that changes your mindset, overhauls your total idea of what used to be to what is. That is self-love. And for you to really practice self-love, you need to master the act of selfishness. So being selfish here empowers you to look after yourself. It could be that all those luxury things you thought are the real thing end up not being what you need. That what truly matters to you are quiet time, luxury time spent with people you love, time out alone in the beach, meditating, lighting up the candle and spending time alone, listening to beautiful music that heals you. That could be what defines your own idea of luxury, self-love. You need to connect yourself to find this act. It could be that you are the kind of person who have been loving to know how to make money, and then you've been working for people who really do not pay you well, and then one time you get selfish, that this is not enough for me. You need to start finding out other ways you can make money and do things better than what you are getting. When you start searching for these things and start deviating from what you used to do, other people who do not understand where you are going or what you have seen that change your mindset will call you selfish. But darling, you are not selfish. You are full of love. Self-love. Yes. So everyone deserves to be selfish. Being selfish is not as bad as what they tell it to be. If you have been feeling exhausted, feeling low, feeling drained, feeling used, it's time for you to sit quiet, draft, pay attention, visualize what exactly you need to change and do to get better. And when you do that, be selfish enough to pursue that you feel that is what will lead you to that path. Selfishness is not an ugly trait. It is a trait every individual must grab. And after you do all of those things, I think one of the most beautiful things that helped me in making my selfish journey beautiful is finding a mantra. One mantra that often sets me free is, if it does not touch the soul, what's the point? And so this helped me in making choices. If I want to be with people, I first of all think of how I feel around them. And if I feel this deep passion, yeah, I know I have to be there. If I want to eat food, if I love the fact I'm eating the food, the smell the food gives me, how I feel around it, this helped me make a decision. And so I first of all look at my soul before I take any decision. And I think everyone should do exactly that. You can get into the comment section to tell me if you have been having struggles finding your selfish traits, or you've been doing it and people have been tagging you selfish. Get into the comment section and tell me your story. If you like this content, why don't you go ahead and click on the like button, subscribe to this channel so that this channel will be recommended to more people. Thank you.